What's up? I'm Dan Random, and my water pump that doesn't even have that many miles on it decided to go bad again. Look at how bad it is. So I started noticing like a brown sludge. Like my antifreeze isn't even that dirty. I'm not sure why it seemed so dirty coming out from around here. Maybe it's rust, maybe this piece started rusting inside. I'm not sure. But I thought my timing chain guides were making a lot of noise. I'm hoping that it actually comes down to this, which isn't even that old. Now because I have an electric fan mod, I just started by taking off the Serpentine belt, which just requires using one of these things in this square hole here and pushing down. And that releases the belt. And then I took off this by taking out these 4 bolts, which were 13 millimeter, or I forget what the standard is. And then I have to take out these 10 millimeter bolts, and I'm going to see if AutoZone, I think that's where I got this from, see if they'll give me another one for free. So this is the water pump removed. Now, of course, I put a large drain pan underneath this because it kind of goes everywhere. So I ran over to AutoZone, and it turns out that my water pump still was under warranty. It's a lifetime warranty, actually. So I'm going to get this on, get the gasket all lined up. I already cleaned down here with a little bit of Scotch-Brite. I also cleaned up the bolts that hold the water pump on. I mean, they're not perfect, but they had a bunch of corrosion and stuff in the threads, and now the threads are actually threads. So I'm going to call that good enough. The gasket can only go on one way, which is this way. I got the water pump all lined up and hanging on one bolt. The holes are actually perfectly lined up. See? This is kind of how I suggest doing it. Hang the thing with the top one here, put it in like halfway or so, and that's after fitting the gasket to the back of the water pump nicely and then very carefully bringing it up to here. It actually all stays in place very well. So I'm just going to tighten these most of the way with this and then use a hand tool in the end to torque it properly. Which this did come with instructions, so I'm going to see if they have a torque spec in there. Now these instructions that came with the water pump are actually pretty thorough, so I'm going to try to get a good shot of it here, and if you want you can pause at any point to try to read it on the screen. These instructions did not come with a torque spec, so I'm just going to have to go with good and tight. All of the bolts are now tightened, so I just have to add some Dex-Cool antifreeze, which I already diluted this 50% with distilled water. So let's get this in here. I filled it with all the antifreeze that it would take before running it. I'm sure there will be air bubbles to bleed out. So now I'm going to hang the, I guess you would call this the belt pulley. Get this hung on here and then torqued up. I'll also leave a link to a video that I did showing you how the belt is routed. So that's how you change a water pump in a Trailblazer 4.2 liter that does not have the fan clutch, shroud, or stock airbox.